So anybody that knows my channel knows that I am a sucker for skirmish games. So recently I picked up the Barnes & Noble exclusive Combat Arena Clash of Champions. Now I have the original that has the Blackstone Fortress heroes in it, but this one will have some definite familiar faces, familiar miniatures anyway. If you've played anything in Warhammer, especially that guy on the front there, that Primaris Lieutenant. I'm pretty sure I got like 5 of those guys. So you get your boards, you get your tokens, you get your rule book, and you get your miniatures and cards and everything. Now the premise of this game is that Trazyn the Infinite has snatched some champions from the various factions. So on the sprues there, you get Brother Ruffalo, which is the Terminator, Teknoth the Dread, which is the Royal Warden, Rafulgus Gru, which is the Death Guard, and Lieutenant Castus, who is the Primaris Lieutenant. Now, along with that, you get a little flyer. You get your bases, of course. You get your dice, and you get a series of cards as well. You have your fighter reference cards, which is the bigger cards there. And then you get critical injury cards, action cards, initiative cards, and you also get damage markers, health markers, and energy tokens along with injury markers. Now the board is small and double-sided because it's just a 4-player game, and it's kind of a King of the Hill style game. So it's going to be 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2. You know, there's several game modes that you can use to play the game. You've got your energy tracker here, which basically denotes how many cards that you can play during your turn. And obviously, as you can see, it will go up and down depending upon the status and all that. So your action cards have basically everything that you can do, and it gives you kind of an action economy that is based upon what you draw, which is kind of neat and adds some strategy to the game. And then you've got your critical injury cards, which give you a small rundown of what's going on with your character. And then your initiative cards. And the initiative cards basically is the order in which everybody plays during the round. So that's easy enough. The tokens were easy to punch. So all of your cards, you have your unique action, you have the kill zone hexes, which show where you can attack, and you have your unique rules, the damage counters, and the damage track, along with Fate of the Defeated, which is kind of an interesting mechanic. There's actually some stuff that you can do after you have been defeated, which is kind of neat. I think that, allowing someone to come back in while the game is going is actually kind of a cool thing. Now, as you can see, everything really packs well back into the box: the dice, the cards, the character cards, the rule book, and everything. And the characters go in those little divots there. So everything kind of, just pushes back together quite nicely. Very neat. So obviously you got your rule book. It gives you the components along with some story there. And I won't read from the story there at the top, but basically Trazyn the Infinite has snatched you guys, and you're, King of the Hill style fight to the death. The how to play is very simple and very easy to read. The rules are very simple and very succinct. So this is a very quick and dirty, kind of a cutthroat game. And as I said earlier, there are variants as well that give you different ways to play, along with some examples of how each of the characters would be painted. It gives you a backstory and some lore, which is kind of neat, along with a backstory on the individual champions as well, which I think is kind of cool. And then you have your assembly guide, which is necessary. And these sprues are a little different than what you usually see. The connection points are smaller on them, so you could actually just kind of pull the models right off of the sprues. And as you can see here, you can see it's actually really hard to see, but that is the connection point on the sprue, that little teeny dot there. So it's a little bit different from what we see on the usual Warhammer stuff. This is definitely something that is made specifically for this board game. So it's easier to disassemble and easier to use. Now, these are all push to fit, and as you can see, the blue kind of it bled off onto my my cement there, my plastic cement. But I usually put a little bit of cement on some of the looser joints, but you really don't need it, obviously, because this is a push to fit model. It's really easy to put together, very simple to put together, and you honestly you know, for the regular stuff like the Terminator and the Death Card, I really didn't even need clippers. The other two, I did need a little bit in the way of clippers. There are a couple of pieces you got to kind of snip off a little harder, but as you can see, I mean, it's really simple to put together. And this is each of the models one by one here. That was the Death Guard, that's the Terminator, and then obviously I put together the Lieutenant. And anybody who has anything Warhammer will recognize this guy, because I've got like 5 of them laying around, 5 of these particular lieutenants. And then the Royal Warden as well, and I've got like 3 or 4 of them as well. So, you know, having one more for my Necron army is, I'm not going to complain. It's not a bad thing. In the end, everything cinches together quite nicely, and I like the game and I like the concept. I liked the original one. There's not a whole lot that changed. There's a few changes there, but there's not a whole lot that changed from the original version. Anyway, it's a good grab. Like and subscribe. Pick it up at Barnes & Noble. And thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.